Hey guys, this is Kendra with Trust TV, and I'm back with another video. Now y'all, I'm going to be doing some speculation. Go check this out. I'm going to be doing some commentary on some speculations and whatnot and give you my opinion on the DDG thing. First of all, let me just start off by saying, now, I believe that Halle is a sweet woman. I think her overall personality is very sweet. I think that is she for the ish? Yeah, I think that she can be, she could be lively and she could have an attitude like something. I think she could even probably, say some nasty things. She's not always nice. That's human, right? We all got a part of us that's not nice. That's a given. Nobody's saying she's sweet all the time, 24/7 every day. She's just such a nice person, do no evil. Nobody good but God. Even God said that. But do I think her overall personality is sweet? Yes. But do I think she has the ability to rip a person a new one? Yes. You know what I mean? I don't think she's a chump. But I think that her overall personality is sweet. That's just what it is. Do I think she's with the ish? Yes. There are times where I felt like, even when it came to DDG, she let DDG talk about her in a derogatory way because she loved him. And even though she knew he was bad-mouthing her, and she had the opportunity to get on there and be like, stop talking about me, or she had the ability to confront the issue, she didn't. She let him drag her through the mud because she still loved him. So I'm saying all that to say is, I don't think she's that bad of a woman, no. On the other hand, with DDG, you see him for who he is. The problem with DDG is DDG think that he can hide his personality, and he can't. And everybody see him. I don't care who follow him. I don't care how many people look up to him. You see him for who he is, right? Do he got some good to him? Everybody does. There is everybody on this earth got some good and got some bad. I'm certain that he has decent qualities about him. But one thing's for certain, two things for true. The things that I watch, that I see, and I watch him enough, but not enough. I watch him enough to know that he's insecure and jealous. And the reason why him and Halle would never work out is you will never work out with somebody you compete with. He competes with Halle's career. And that's what nobody picks up on. That baby, no disrespect, and I don't want to put it out there, but come on. That's all I'm saying. That girl that he dated prior to Halle said it better. He tried to make her have a baby. He tried to make her have a baby for him. Why? To exploit it, right? No disrespect, but I'm being honest. And so I feel like DDG is selfish. I think he thinks too much about himself, and he don't really care about what he do to anybody else. He care about his career. He don't care about destroying hers, even though she is the mother of his kid. If you love Halo, how can you destroy his mother? He's a byproduct of both of you, including the mother. So tearing down her career would be taking away money from out of the mouth of your son when he with her. Why would you do that? Find your own way to get a notoriety in a realm where she's at. Get in a movie. You know what I mean? Up your fan base. But don't tear her down so that you can get successful. Now, when we addressing this fight, there's certain things that was said that don't make sense to me. And I'm going to say it because I'm going to say it. Number one, Halle said, from what they said, Halle said that she went to the car to put the baby inside the car seat because he was taking the baby or whatever. This is what was read in the police report. And then somehow she gets to his side of the seat where he's able to chip her tooth on the steering wheel. Well, that don't add up and that don't make sense. There's an in-between, right? So I know they probably not telling every single moment in detail, but you do need every moment in detail to understand that. So in my opinion, I don't know, I'm just giving my own commentary on what I think happened. Personally, I think that DDG came over to this girl's house. And I think that when DDG came over to this girl's house to come get the baby Halo, she had Halo in her arm walking him to the car. When she walked, because the timeline don't make sense. How'd you get to the steering wheel, right? When you were putting the baby in the back seat. That don't make sense. So I think she had the baby in her arms. And whatever transpired between her and DDG, and this is my a speculation, I'm just saying allegedly, right? When she had the baby in her arms, she walked to his side of the car, to the front of his car. His door was open, right? And I think they got into an altercation. Their altercation, right? Like Halle said, she could see a spitfire. She could say something like something. Maybe she said something he didn't like, or he questioned her on something, and she responded in a way he didn't like. And as a result, responded in a way he didn't like while baby Halo was in her arm. He ain't mind putting his hands on her. It was a straw that broke the camel's back for him, because he don't really want Halle, but he also don't, bit a baby daddy, he don't want Halle to have nobody either, right? Not before him anyway, because he want to bask in rubbing in her face that he got somebody else. And to see Halle move on and have a decent man in her life before he gets a trashy woman in his life is something that he don't want. I'm just keeping it 100. And so I feel like they had an altercation with the baby in her arms, and that's when he chipped the tooth, when he beat her, because that would only make sense. And then I think as a result, you know, he was like, she was like, the baby's screaming and hollering now because of the altercation. The baby's fragile because of the altercation. And then he like, let me get the baby, cussing her out, probably cussing her to filth. And she put the baby in the car to let him have the baby. But the baby was so crying because everything that transpired in front of him. This would just make sense to me, I'm just saying. The baby was crying and crying so much, she buttoning the baby in the thing, her tooth already chipped, or whatever. She in pain, the baby crying. She never thought he would hit her like that. Now, when I say like that, I believe that DDG is abusive, verbally and mentally. Physically, maybe with a shove and a push. Do I think he's ever beat her up? Only Halle would know that. Do I think that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't personally think he beat her up. I think that he may have shoved, pushed, and had indications that he has it in him to do that. But I think, and that's why she never filed restraining orders against him. Or if he did hit her, her love for him and not wanting to ruin this man's career and her own career, she did not get a restraining order against him. And this day was the straw that broke the camel's back, because he literally tried to break her daggone face. And at that point, she was like, all right, nigga, I'm getting a restraining order. You crazy. And the only reason why I say they granted they granted him to stay away from her and the baby. The only way that can happen is if that baby was in her hand when he attacked her, and he didn't have no reference for that baby, and they saw that, and they was like, nah, because if he just hit you, there wouldn't have been no restraining order against that baby. I think the baby was in that girl's arm, and he didn't care about busting her face open with the baby in her arm, and that's why they granted it. That's my opinion now. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just speculating. I believe she proceeded to put the baby in the back seat, and after that altercation and physical altercation happened, he then screamed, get the uck out of my car, get the uck out of my car, B. You know what I mean? And she, because the baby was hollering, and she with the ish too, like I said, she ain't no chump, she got in that car, and when he drove off and drove her to her mother's house, the mothers took DDG's side, because of course silly women like that, for whatever reason, would get their own ass beat and go through hell and back and still defend their son that's abusive, which is insane to me, because you a woman first and a mother second. I don't care what nobody say. My son beat up on a girl. I don't care who he is. I'm going to tell him about himself. Maybe not all over social media, but I'm going to let him know in front of his girlfriend. Don't put your hands on a woman, point blank, period. I don't care how that look. You a whole big old man. I'm certain she not hurting you. If she ain't got no knife or no weapon, ain't no need for it. But anyway, I digress. But so the mom proceeded to tell her to leave, and Halle, understanding that they ain't gonna get her side no way, and they done, could have seen it all before, they told her to get out and leave, she left. That's what I believe. That's in my opinion. Because normally they never give a restraining order when it's just between the mother and the father. I know in a situation that happened with a girl I know, the only reason why they gave her a restraining order with her and the baby is because the man had no regard when he beat her up. He had no regard for the baby. Like, he was able to beat her up even with the baby in close proximity of the fight, and could possibly get the baby hurt and still didn't have no, he didn't care. Right? And as a result of that is the reason for the restraining order. So, being granted for the baby. So I'm not saying that's what happened with them, but I'm just saying, y'all. And as for the sister commenting, or any of those people for this matter, the sister commenting, she goes, it's my brother. Are you asking me to pick sides? No, mind your business and stay neutral, right? Because Halle ain't the first girl to say that DDG put his hands on him. So defending your brother, that's not loyalty. And then you talked about God. Well, if you a liar, God is against that too. So make sure when you enter God into something, you righteous when you say it. Because if you lying on that girl in any way, God see that too. So you can't be like, Satan is busy, but God, yeah, that's right. And could you be that Satan? If you do not, the truth will be out. Exactly. Because so far, all people see is DDG doing what he do best. And that's slandering that girl to filth. Halle don't even address him. She don't even address him. And she never has. And so now that she's filing a restraining order and now everybody trying to paint Halle to be this bad guy because it's easy to believe the bitter baby mama bit than to believe that some of these men out here bitter and miserable and want women to be as bitter and miserable as they are. Right? Because we know DDG type is gutter butt a little bit. He don't like... She too wholesome. Even though she not wholesome, she too wholesome for him. The kind of woman he like, she ain't it. And so he was with her for the fame. I think he was with her for what it does to his career. I think she was in love, but he was not. It's my own opinion. And so anyway, with this situation, I feel like the sister shouldn't even get involved. Why? Only for the simple fact that you yourself in a relationship where you speculated that your boyfriend was cheating on you or talking to other females that don't even look like you. You don't even feel like he liked black girls, but yet you still with him. So I don't think that you should... all the people that ever defend DDG has bad, they have a bad rapport. They're nobody. They don't have credibility. So you can't even believe any of them because their credibility has been seared. Nobody believes anything that any of them say. He's terrible for getting any of them to speak on it. Because no matter, and I understand the guy K, he was like, listen, I don't know what happened between you. And his response was best. And he was like, but he still inspire people, so I'ma still let DDG be a part of. Right. That's his own personal life. It shouldn't stop him from succeeding. It shouldn't stop Halle from succeeding. Nobody should ever lose out in life for their own personal issues. That only adds fuel to the fire and make the situation worse when people lose out on endorsements and deals over things that they're not... You can't control how somebody treats you, right? You can control how you respond and treat somebody else, but you can't necessarily control how somebody else treats you. So therefore, why would somebody lose brand deals, and I feel like any company judging based off that company, their life better be together. You judging somebody so harshly. Your kids better all be scholars, and you better not be divorced and had about 18 wives. And come on, make it make sense. You better have your life together before you judge somebody with that same measuring stick. But anyway, I personally feel for the both of them, but I feel for Halle more. I ain't even gonna tell no fib. That's why everybody told her to sit down and not mess with that boy no way. Be a good girl. Ain't nothing wrong with being a good girl. I was stupid enough to believe there was something wrong with it. And when you are a good girl and you try to do stupid shit like mess with bad boys or mess with somebody that is just emotionally unavailable, you gonna get hurt in the end. She should have sat back and pulled a Marsai Martin. Marsai Martin, don't pull a Keke Palmer and a Halle Bailey and a Sky Jackson. Get you a decent, wholesome Russell Wilson kind of dude. Not who he is specifically, but who people believe him to be, because I don't know who he is. You get what I mean? This is Kendra with Trust TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay up, stay blessed. Put God first above all else. Peace out. Bye.